Hey everyone, Sweet and Sanity here for my next poetry installment. Today I am reading 5 poems from December 2018 and February to June 2019. The first one is Expressions. I like to express myself through poetry. I find it much easier to put paper or pencil to page, or to put thumbs to keypad. My mind is clear when I write. When I speak, I hold back, or my words get muddled, or I get distracted, or someone talks over me. Then I just stop speaking and go back to observing. Looking back, I've always expressed myself through writing. I remember my first diary at 7 years old. I love that diary and I still have it, plus all the others that followed. One day I'll be gone from this realm and someone will inherit my diaries. I hope they don't get shocked too easily, because contained in those pages are words I never dared to speak. But my poetry is spoken at poetry group, at open mics, at poetry slams, at birthday parties, and at funerals. I write from the heart, I speak my truth. To those who thank me for my words, I thank you back for taking the time to listen when I decided to speak. I'm not a player, I'm Polly. My friend called me a player. I said I'm not a player, I'm Polly. I think it's hard for some people to wrap their head around that, so let's start with a definition. Polyamory, the philosophy or state of being in love or romantically involved with more than one person at the same time. So, there's a basis. But there's more. Poly is not cheating if you're ethical. Honesty with all partners is key, as well as open communication and kindness. Treat others how you want to be treated. Oh, I've had monogamous long-term relationships, but after my last one ended, I ran full force back into the poly lifestyle because that's who I'm meant to be. From a young age, I've had romantic intentions with more than one person at a time. When I was 4, I was in love with 3 brothers. When I was 7, I was in love with 2 sisters. In grade school and high school, I would date, but I always had crushes on other people. This always perplexed me until a friend of mine became a love interest. I discovered that he felt the same way. Eventually, we declared our love for each other and started a relationship. He was married. I dated his wife as well. And at one point, I had a girlfriend. I also had other lovers here and there. That was from 2005 to 2007. When I ended my last monogamous relationship, I reconnected with this man, knowing that he is the love of my life and I had to be with him, and I am. My boyfriend is still with his wife, and he has another girlfriend now. I'm friends with both women. Quite unexpectedly, I fell in love with another woman, and she is also polyamorous. We got married, declaring our undying love for each other. When I describe my love life, people are often confused, but that's okay. I love to educate others. And all I know is I'm living authentically, loving life, and loving love. So no, I'm not a player, I'm Polly. This piece is dedicated in the memory of my good friend October, called October. The first time I met her, I was going to university. She's at the Turtle Island house just like me. Right away, I loved her beautiful smiles, and her laugh could be heard for miles. We lost touch as we both went on our way. I hoped that we would reconnect one day. When I started working at the Friendship Center, I was so happy to see her. She arrived at a meeting that I was part of, and she came accompanied by love. Over the years, I got to know her so much more. We shared many laughs and hugs and lore. As she shared her wisdom readily with me, she was a shining example for all to see. She cared for those in our community who needed their voices heard, and she was always a woman of her word. She was a fierce advocate for families, especially the little ones, and she could light up a room like 100 suns. The workshops we planned together were always such a success. When I left my role at the Friendship Center, I knew I would see her less. Every time I would see her, she would loudly exclaim, "Hey, Sweet Pea," her enduring nickname for me. I will miss her presence so very much. I will remember all the lives she did touch. October today, I say Bama P. Thank you for being such a good friend to me. The price. Our ancestors paid with body and blood for us, so we may live free. This last piece has a trigger warning for self-harm and for the topic of missing and murdered Indigenous women and girls. It's called A Tribute to Missing and Murdered Indigenous Women and Girls. You know that girl, the one who laughs at all the jokes, or the one that trails a blade across her flesh, or the one who is a great athlete, or the one who quietly makes her way through the world. You know her family. You've seen them on television, you've read articles about them, you've seen them organized in protest because that girl is missing, or because that girl has been murdered, because that girl is not a priority to law enforcement. That girl matters to her family and her community. All they want is for her to return home or that her killer be brought to justice. Drum beats surround as tears are shed. Sage is burnt as tears are shed. Sweat lodges are attended as tears are shed. Circles are formed as tears are shed. A national inquiry is just the first step in a long road ahead. It will take commitment from politicians to address this matter. Law enforcement needs to get on board, for this is not just an Indigenous issue. See how they treat us and how they treat others? No mother should cry herself to sleep at night worrying about her daughter. No father should lay awake crying for his daughter. Not one child should have to lose their mother this way. The community grieves for these women, praying that they be returned or that their soul finds peace. That's it for today, everybody. Take care.